What's up, YouTube? It's Mr. Smith back here with another commentary. Today I'm commenting about Kevin Samuels and this interview we did with this Jamaican girl, and he was talking to her about the danger zone, about the wall, and she's 29. And during that conversation, this is like the latest videos up on this website now. It's Monday the 7th, March 7th, 2022. So basically, on his website, he has like, or it's Becky The Answer, because basically he's talking to this woman. She's 29, and he's saying that for black men, which is the truth, black women is the first person, the first choice. So that means junior high school, college, you know what I mean, throughout your entire life, the first choice you're going to take is a black woman, because a lot of black women are better improving themselves. They're basically going to school, doing college and everything, so they're not really focusing on relationships. They're focusing on doing their school, their education, and then they focus on their work, career, and then they focus on, you know, all the rest of that stuff. So then now, or financial stuff. So then now what Kevin Samuels is saying, well, what he's basically saying is, well, because he's spending so much time focusing on all the stuff that's not family, you spend the entire 20s focused on work, you know, you spend the entire teenagers, you know, spend the entire 20s focused on school and starting off your career, and the 30s solidifying your career. So then by the time you finish your 30s, it's career, and you have a little bit of time to meet, find somebody that you find appealing, and settle down with that person, because the entire 20s and 30s have been working. You haven't really been seriously dating, seriously trying to find a husband. So that's what Kevin Samuels is talking about. He's talking about that to this woman about the danger zone, which, if you don't know the danger zone is from 30, around 30 to 35 is the danger zone. After that, that's it. It's the wall. 35, that's it. It's done. So he says certain things in a very crass way to get your attention. But he's saying certain basic things in a crass way. Some people might call him a coon because he's saying certain things in mixed company, right? So that me and you, black people and brown people know it, but other races of colored people, they don't know it, and they're sitting there listening to our business. You see what I'm saying? And he's popular. So it's Kevin Samuels helping or hurting, and basically all these topics about interracial dating and dating Becky. Is he helping the black people by saying date out for black men, or is he hurting black people for dating out? Alright? So that's basically what's going to go into this. So he's interviewed this 29-year-old modern woman, and she's focused a lot of her, she's Jamaican, tisk, like, come on, what's the problem? You know what I mean? So anyhow, she's the modern woman. She's 29. She basically dated around just for fun during her 20s, nothing serious. Basically, the stuff that they tell the women nowadays, just date, have fun, hot girl summer. Hey, I'm for it. No problem. But what happens is you spend a lot of time working and a lot of time dating, you know, frivolously dating. And by the time you get 35, 36, now you want to settle down, but then men have an internal clock in their heads. So by the time you reach 35, 36, a dude doesn't really want to settle down with a 35, 36-year-old in most cases. If he's around the same age, he doesn't really, okay, fine. But if he's making a lot of money, and he's making, again, high value man, making $100,000 for 5 years or more straight, that's $500,000 he made in 5 years. Okay? He can buy a house, he can buy whatever car he wants, he can have his pick of the litter. If he's going to get with somebody, you're 35, 36, you spend a lot of time working, casually dating. So what Kevin Samuels is asking, if you're dating like this your entire life, what are you going to find to give to this particular high value man? What are you going to find to give to this high value man? What do you bring to the table? Which is a common, popular question that's been going around. What do you bring to the table? And she was going into detail about, well, she's not going to spend time with a toxic man because she wants to spend time with a guy, and then the guy is toxic, he has problems, and then she basically said, well, just because you talk to a black woman and black women turn you down, doesn't necessarily mean you go to Becky. And then she's saying, well, you know, black women are more race loyal, which is the truth. Black women are less likely to go out and outside their race. And She was basically saying just because a black woman turned you down doesn't mean you get with Becky, right? So she's saying that, and Kevin Samuels is saying, okay, just because I go and I say, all right, I try to talk to a black woman, he turned me down, doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to keep talking. It's modern day times. That means I want to open up the gate and I want to start talking to more different types of women. So it's going to be different colors of women. So because you're not giving me as much play as I want to open up the tables. And then guess what? Every person I talk to that's not black, it's an opportunity for me to, go outside the race. So that's what Kevin Samuels was saying. That's a good thing or a bad thing. Basically, you hear for yourself, bro. Okay? This is not, say, like, the black race, as you call it, there's 30 million black people in America, right? It's not like we're the Indians, okay? It's not like we're the Native Americans, okay? There's 1.3 billion people in all of Africa itself that's black, okay? So we're not Native Americans. We're good. The population of black people is good. Whatever you want to do with your life, you're going to do it with your life. So I can't tell a man what to do or what not to do with his. You know what I mean? So whatever. Well, see, if someone interracial dates, Umar Johnson doesn't like interracial dating. Kevin Samuels, he leaves it on the table. Is it good or bad? It's good for the individual. That means if whatever area you're in, whatever town you're in, if the group of people in that town is black, and you don't really think that you want to try with that group of people, you want to try something different, you can't leave your town. You can date the white people in the town, you can date the Spanish people in the town, you can date the Indian people in the town. So you need to open up your options, to give yourself more options, right? So that's good for the individual, but not good for the group. You understand? So that's basically, it's 50-50. But what he's saying with the females is that a lot of the times the females, they're not really talking to guys, they're not giving out their numbers. And then now the female get mad because they see the same guy that they said that they're not interested in, walking with a Becky, walking with an Asian chick, walking with a Spanish chick. It's like, that's just normal red eye or green eye covetousness. You don't want it, but someone else, that's human nature, right? That's because you don't want it. You just don't want someone else to have it, right? So that's just human nature. Little kids do that when it comes to toys. They don't want it, but then they give it to their brother. They all of a sudden they want it. So that's common sense. You know what I mean? It's common knowledge. So it kept on going. So there is like a half-hour video. But what was some of the things we were talking about? What was this other one, that video? Right, and part of the stuff is like, part of it, in the video itself, Kevin Samuels was like, oh, well, black women figure like they own black men, so that they, like, black men have to basically only look for them. And again, if you spend a lot of time, this is math, if you have a certain amount of time to do things, right? You spend most of the 20s in school educating yourself, mostly 20s, and the rest of your 20s and 30s building your career. So if you spend all the way up in most of your time building your career, you can't just walk up to a guy and basically meet him for 2 or 3 years. Then also want to pop out, want to pop out a kid for him when you haven't been in a real serious relationship for your entire life, right? So common sense. You don't know how to treat somebody. You don't know how to share. So it's like. So basically, they was basically talking in the videotape about every time Kevin Samuels asked the girl, a question about interracial dating, she was like, because it's uncomfortable. Why? Everything like that she's doing like this, that means she's powerless. She's powerless to stop it. Right? So she just could sit there, because you're a woman. You just have to sit there and watch this person walk over and talk to someone from another race. You can't sit there and wave your hand. He can't sit, he could try and gesture to them, but if he decides to walk over across the room and talk to someone from a different race, you just gotta sit there and just mind your business. So, because you're basically waiting to be selected, you're waiting to be chosen, you're waiting to be approached. If nobody approaches you, you're sitting there the entire night. If majority of the people that's in this club, they want people of a different race, well, then you're out of luck, right? So that's basically the plight of being a woman. The man could make his future, make his destiny, and choose what you want. The woman just have to sit there and give signals and wait to be chosen. So that's the way the animals do it. That's what they do out the animal kingdom, right? So the man just goes out there and peacock and big colors and push out his chest and we look, and then they basically go and mate. It's the same thing. Okay, we're all mammals. We're all animals, right? We have the same type of mating ritual, but just more refined, right? So what Kevin Samuels is saying is like, okay.
And this is the delusion y'all continue to feed. And it's like, well, at some point, men who want a legacy are going to have to make a decision. And I think black women need to recognize that, look, it's not a matter of black men looking outside of the race. It's a matter of other races of women are actively coming to get black men.
So they were raised.
So what happened with this female, he kept on asking stuff about interracial dating, is Becky the Answer, and she was like, it's uncomfortable, right? Black men, you could say it's another black man, be responsible with your decision and stuff like that, you know. But at the end of the day, this person can do whatever the hell they want to do with their life. And new statistics show that half of all college students right now, all college men that are black, they interracial. So 70% right now of all black men when they graduate marry outside the race. 20 years from now, if half of the men, the young 20-year-olds and the young 19-year-olds are dating interracial, by the time they reach 10, 15 years from now, 30, 35, I mean, that number of people that's going to be married interracial is going to be damn near half of all college graduates that are basically interracial or married, you know. So what do you think? Is interracial dating and marriage good for black men? And is it better for black men? Wait, what's the question I want to ask? Edit all this shit out. What do you think? Interracial dating good for the black community or bad?